Parents across Ontario entrust their children to Catholic school boards every day, expecting a safe environment rooted in faith, morals, and basic common sense. But within the Wellington Catholic District School Board, that trust is shattering. A staff member with a previously revoked early childhood educator license and inappropriate social media history and a track record of privacy breaches involving young students is interacting with children.
These are our children that are at this school. This isn't, another person's friend or, somebody else that you know. These are our children, and we just want some immediate answers, and the lack thereof getting them is deeply concerning.
Some of you may recall my report from last October exposing that Alexander Dotsko, who also goes by Alex or simply Mr. D in some of his previously posted videos, disregarded the privacy of young children by posting images and videos of kindergarten and primary students on his personal social media accounts without parental knowledge or consent. That investigation triggered a privacy probe by the Ontario Privacy Commissioner. It concluded in March of this year, with the school board apparently confirming that the videos were removed from all public forums and personal devices. Except that I found a bunch of videos still publicly available on Dotsko's YouTube channel, including one where the announcements twice come on during his nearly 10-minute video, one with a child's name announced throughout, and he even acknowledges that this makes him angry at the very end.
And I'm going to say, I am angry because all of the announcements keep interrupting my video. And you know what? Saying it out loud, I realized that, it's not that bad. It's not a big deal because that sometimes happens in life. So we just got to kind of roll with it.
In another, you can hear students in the hallway.
I can hear my clock ticking. I can hear some students in the hallway. And I can hear the hum of my laptop.
When the Privacy Commissioner concluded their investigation, they said that the board was also given recommendations to strengthen its privacy policies and procedures, specifically around social media expectations and student confidentiality to be communicated to all employees and volunteers of the school. They do say that should further information come to their attention, the IPC retains the ability to reopen the file for further investigation, which brings us to today, where allegations that a grade 6 student was encouraged by Dotsko to come out as transgender in a classroom discussion, again without parents' knowledge, and whose vulgar online persona continues to raise serious red flags for local parents. Today, we hear directly from a concerned father, Sean Little, whose children attend an elementary school within the Wellington Catholic District School Board. Now, I've spoken to several parents from the school, and all of them want answers, transparency, and for their kids to be protected, not indoctrinated or exposed to explicit themes or messaging while at school. Sean Little stepped up because so many families were left in the dark and so many are scared to come forward. So here's how this story unfolded for him and other parents.
I believe I've taken kind of the role here to get people enlightened on the topic mostly, and just to be aware of what's going on. There was so much information brought to light recently that we were completely in the dark on. Stuff the school board and teachers and individuals who we trust and confide in to acknowledge us with that. Just never brought to light. So just here to kind of enlighten people for the most part.
Now, parents were completely blindsided that Dotsko had a previous privacy breach within this same board, but just at a different elementary school. It seems that the board relocated him thereafter, and so what started with a privacy breach involving young children, again on his personal social media pages, snowballed into revelations about credentials, classroom conduct, and ideology being pushed onto kids far too young and without their parents' knowledge or consent.
Basically, what we've come to find out from this individual is not only the inappropriate kind of conduct that he presents himself with on a daily basis, the outfits, the social media presence, the vulgar characteristics that go along with that, but we've also come to find out that this individual now has been practicing as an ECE, or at least claiming to be an ECE in our children's school. Looking back into this, the status of his license was revoked back in 2017. We have now just come to find out that the status of his license is back in good standing now. It's back up and operating, and in the meantime, we're just trying to get questions answered on the topic of why would this individual, what disciplinary actions were taking due to the breach of policy with the privacy policy. Also, just the individual interactions that this person has with young children. A lot of things are coming to light here, stories that we're hearing and scenarios of young children as young as the age of 7, being brought into a sexual kind of relationship with this individual on the terms of, identifying where they stand, their terms of how they feel, expressing these concerns to other younger children. We just feel like well, first and foremost, it varies and sways from the Catholic education system on the sexual education topic there. Children that young should not be introduced to these type of things. And also they shouldn't be introduced by an individual who we have no faith in his standing right now. We haven't got answers about this individual's credentials. All of our questions that we've been asking have been ignored. They say that they've done their part, the school board, that is, the trustees, the director of education, the principals, all reassuring us that nothing that this individual has done is in the wrong. We feel like there's clear evidence that has come out on this individual that clearly validates our point and our concerns that we have.
Now, history shows that most teachers would be disciplined, if not fired completely, for inappropriate content found on their social media that could be unbecoming to the profession. One Ontario teacher refused to give up her license over gender-critical posts online. Another was suspended for refusing to use Z pronouns. And do you remember high school student Josh Alexander? He was suspended and then expelled from his high school just for standing up for the deeply held religious convictions that he holds and trying to protect his female classmates when males began using the female restroom. And then both of his elementary school teacher parents were targeted and ultimately fired for not celebrating and affirming LGBTQ issues. Yet when a teacher promotes gender ideology to young children, bypasses parents, holds a revoked ECE license, and posts explicit adult content online, that system protects him. According to parents and the lack of the communication from the board, there hasn't been much in the way of any investigation. Instead, they simply reassigned and defended. That's a glaring double standard. In Catholic schools, parents are deliberately choosing faith-based education, and the same rules of conduct should apply to everyone. Parents aren't asking for discrimination. They're asking for basic safeguarding, honesty, and schools that don't run social experiments on kids without consent. The Ontario Teachers College cautions educators to uphold professional presence online. The Ontario College of Teachers is clear. Keep a professional presence online. Vulgar, explicit, or intemperate posts have led to 20-day suspensions without pay and even full revocations. The College of Early Childhood Educators does the same. Suspensions, fines, or permanent bans for serious misconduct, especially anything involving sexual content or child safety. Those decisions are published publicly. School boards like the Wellington Catholic District School Board are supposed to check these licenses. Hiring or keeping someone with a revoked ECE certificate who was misrepresenting their credentials and the source of a serious privacy breach should trigger a full board-level probe every single time. And yet still there's more, including specific incidents that crossed every line of parental consent and age appropriateness.
One of the things that was brought to light was the social media presence of this individual. Very, very vulgar presence, a very sexual presence, provocative, something that we've known personally that other teachers or other instances of individuals in the school boards have been penalized and disciplined for. It seems like this person is getting a scotch-free walk through the park here, and we're just trying to understand why this person is getting special treatment as opposed to anybody else. That was one of the first red flags that was raised there. Another one, personally, was last year while this individual was involved with a grade 6 student who, a female student, he was working with the student. Eventually, what came to light was the student was encouraged to come out and speak out to the class about transitioning from male to female in their process. This, again, sways from any bit of curricular education standpoint. Parents were not made aware of this presentation done by a grade 6 student who basically, they're still in that situation of learning stuff for themselves, let alone sharing and informing other students of the same age on this topic. In coordinate with that activity that happened, or that event, The individual of Alex he took a leave of absence around that time. We don't know if the two coexist hand in hand, if the leave of absence was because of this instance that happened at the school. That's another question that we've had to the school board, to everybody else involved in that matter, and another thing that they say they can't disclose with us. They can't give us any answers into. Another thing to shed some light on is that when we reached out to the school, they had told us that he was hired on as a child and youth worker. So another thing that we were trying to get some answers on is, why was he using the ECE credentials when he was a child and youth worker in the school, presenting himself and lying and misleading a lot of parents into believing that they were, this individual had the right withstanding and a good license at hand there. But it's basically it's troubling in the matter itself. This is the last place and resort that we should have to be worrying about our kids. And it's the first thing that's on our mind every day now when we send our kids off to school. There were some instances of interactions with children behavior where altercations happened. He would sit down with both kids, mediate the process, eventually just have them hash it out. That's when we kind of found out where his initial standing was with this. We've been reporting now, after more parents have taken initiative to learn more about the situation. We're hearing now that this person's duties now include taking children to the washroom, escorting them to the washroom, yard duties, supervision, lunchtime supervision, bus pickup, bus drop-off, that kind of stuff. So
the board's response by stonewalling this is telling. There's a role creep happening here while parents beg for just basic information.
It's almost insulting, to be honest with you. The initial follow-up when we all, put our concerns on the table was an immediate reaction to let us know and address this, saying that if we had any other concerns to follow up, gave us the kind of dismal response of what they can share with us. After that, it just turned into, we were going to get our time, we were going to get our chance to speak. We all asked for a formal sit-down meeting with members that could give us some information on this. We were very transparent with understanding that there's certain things that they can't share with us. We fully respect that. We understand that. But I think, on the same end of that stick, there's got to be some policy for us that allows us to express our concern, to get answers in on this. These are our children that are at this school. This isn't, another person's friend or, somebody else that These are our children, and we just want some immediate answers, and the lack thereof getting them is deeply concerning. The biggest thing right now is trying to limit any kind of interaction that individual has while our children are going to school. A lot of us have written letters saying that we do not want our children in any kind of activity that individual may have a hand in right now. The school is telling us there's only so much they can do, as this individual has these responsibilities and must uphold them. So basically, a lot of what's happening now is parents are just saying, call us when the children are going to be. If you can't keep them in the office and have them there safely, you call us and we'll pick them up right now. And even in some cases, I've talked to some parents, and they've gone to an almost homeschool approach from this.
With parents taking drastic measures to shield their children from the ideologies infiltrating Catholic schools, homeschooling or hybrid options are becoming more common as school attendance across the province drops sharply post-pandemic. With the board's hiring process in question and morals and ethics expected of the board not being aligned with parental expectations, Sean's final plea has ultimately fallen on deaf ears.
If this individual is okay to be in there, if he didn't violate any policies and that, we just want to know. We want full, legal explanation on these, because we're clearly seeing everything else. But ultimately, come September, I want this to be behind us. I want our children to be going there, enduring another great year, getting on, learning lots, meeting their friends, having fun, speaking on the summer times, and hopefully all the students are there, because at this rate, we're looking at a lot of individuals that may be taking their kids out of school and doing it on a homeschooling scale. So, the population of the school could drop, and friends and curricular activities that go on in children's lives could be hindered right now because of this. So,
parents aren't the villains here. They're the last line of defense for their kids' innocence safety, and faith-based education. School boards exist to serve families, not shield controversial staff at children's expense. This Wellington case, building on last year's privacy probe, demands real answers before September, but it seems that won't be happening, because I reached out to the Wellington Catholic District School Board with some direct questions about Mr. Dotsko's role. To be expected, it was crickets from the Wellington Catholic District School Board, but I've been told on good authority from parents that Mr. Dotsko has been moved to one of the local high schools ahead of the September school year start. It now should go without saying, if these concerns are unfounded, the school board has every opportunity to address them openly and restore parents' confidence. But silence only deepens the questions. Parents deserve transparency, accountability, and the assurance that the adults entrusted with their children meet the highest professional and ethical standards. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. Kids should be kids and their innocence protected, not targeted for indoctrination. If you're sick of this, stand with us right now at stopclassroomgrooming.com and support our work there. That's stopclassroomgrooming.com.